Jessica points outside the window and asks Josh Lawson to press the button next to the window. Josh immediately presses Jonah immediately presses the button next to the window, which causes the cabin to go on automatic shutdown. Segarra rises from the bed and touches his neck, but seems to be on all paranoia from the attack that just occurred. He stands up, goes into the bathroom, and closes the bathroom door. Lawson and McNamara standing right next to each other as a result of him entering the bathroom and him closing the door. McNamara and Lawson stare at the bathroom door. Inside the bathroom, Segarra takes off his shirt, flings a lighter, and clicks it on. It lights his tongue with the burned lighter. Notices that his tongue has just gone black, only to sizzle and heal up on its own. He clips the lighter shut and puts it next to him on the kitchen sink. The lights flicker in the bathroom. He looks at the lighting on the ceiling, and all of a sudden, Segarra feels like as if static was running through his body. Electrolytes are seen running through his body like an electrical shock system. And however, through the screen, the lighting and photosynthesis of the lighting was going through his eyes as he stared at the light. He then eventually turned away and plants both his hands on the kitchen sink. Or bathroom sink. He looked clearer into the mirror and realized that his muscle bill was toning into something even more greater than what he was before. His six-pack was becoming more and more clear, and his biceps were shredding to the point of no return. He grabs his tank top and puts it on, and then grabs a plaid shirt from within the cabinet itself and slides it on in an attempt to make it so that when McNamara and Jonah wouldn't notice. He applies his plaid shirt collar and straightens up his belt, but also realigning his manger area to default. Realigning his whole imagining pants area. He opens the bathroom door and walks directly into McNamara and Lawson. Segarra responds, "I ain't doing nothing, bro." Slides directly past McNamara. McNamara stares directly after Segarra. As Segarra walks into the kitchen, Jessica heads Lawson, and they both walk into the kitchen with them. Jessica opens the refrigerator door, grabs some milk, plants it on the counter, closes the refrigerator door with his iron-toe boot footwork in the kitchen, and the refrigerator door slams automatically shut. Jessica stares directly at Josh as he somehow managed to unaware of his own strength. He opened the cabinet where the cereal was and populated the box of cereal open with his fingertips. However, unaware of his own strength, he was able to open the bag within the box with one finger. The bag popped open, and the whole entire and he was able to put some cereal into the bowl just in time. for the rest of the cereal to pop out of the bottom of the ball of the bag itself. Jessica's eye tension Rory's son watched as the cereal fell to the floor. Jonah grabbed the broom and dustpan and immediately started sweeping out the floor as Josh poured the milk by one hand into the bowl of cereal. One finger was all it took to open the refrigerator door. He closed the lid, put the lid on the milk, closed it, and put it directly into the fridge, and used his iron tool boot once again to close the refrigerator door. Takes the bowl of cereal out of the kitchen into the main room and turns on the TV. Back in the kitchen, Jessica couldn't seem to understand the certain situation of desirable tension. Her eyes tensioned and her head popped back. She noticed something weird and fixed within Jonah Lawson's bicep belt. It was tensing directly in front of her. Jessica ignored the situation and responded, "Whatever." And Jonah responded, "What?" Jessica responded, "Nothing," and exits the kitchen into the opposite living room of Segarra. His head falls directly onto the couch that she was sitting on, and she stares at the ceiling. Back on the opposite side of the room, Josh Segarra was rapidly learning the ability to read lips without dialogue from the TV. Jonah Lawson then put the cereal into the trash can and realigned the broom and dustpan where it was before. Enters into the living room and sits directly next to Segarra, who had just finished his bowl of cereal and drunk the milk within the bowl. Exits the room, puts the bowl in the sink, and immediately washes the bowl and the spoon. Using his finger in a washcloth and dish soap to wash it, along with the spoon itself. Seemingly paranoid, he plants the bowl next to the sink and puts the spoon directly in the dishwasher as though opening and closing the dishwasher door. A bang on the main door comes way before Josh Segarra's reflex could fix on it, and he pushes the main button for the cabin door to open. And to Lawson, McNemma, and Segarra's ears, a little boy was banging on the door. "Help me, please!" Segarra opens the door, and a 12-year-old hugs Segarra. However, instead of Segarra does not use his newly earned preflex ability on the kid itself. He lets the kid hug him, and then he lifts up the kid into his newly built arms and stares into the distance. Rustling in the woods. The rustling noise comes out. Segarra passes the kid to Jonah Lawson and closes the door in front of Jonah. Walks directly into the path of the rustling in the woods. grits his teeth, and a large light grizzly bear enters the direct in front of him. Josh stands in front of the grizzly bear, for the grizzly bear swept his head up and down. Yes, from the situation. And the grizzly bear yawned forward with his paws directly on the screen. However, Josh Segarra was able to use his pre-flexibility to kick, to avoid the attack and kick the grizzly bear cockhandedly against the metal framing of the cabin. Josh Segarra slightly cocked his head toward the grizzly bear, and the grizzly bear stood up on his hind legs and roared directly at Josh Segarra as he turned around, and the grizzly bear roared directly in his face. Segarra showed no fear of the grizzly bear roaring in his face, and before Josh could even tell, he felt another shift throughout his body build. His bones cracked. His face deformated, and before he knew it, he grew pointy ears, and he found himself howling at the moon. Josh Segarra had completely evolved into a werewolf, and the wolf and the bear immediately started fighting. The grizzly bear tried to fight and bite with all it had. However, the werewolf Josh Segarra had became was too strong, and it slammed the grizzly bear down with tremendous force and bit into his neck, and drawing pain within the grizzly bear as the grizzly bear roared in pain, and then ripped the grizzly bear's throat out, killing the grizzly bear instantly. Back inside the cabin, Jonah Lawson sat the kid next to McNemma, when was still looking at the ceiling, an hour in discharge and paranoia. The kid sat directly next to McNemma, and the kid responded that said his name was Andy Harris. Jessica heard the name, and however, she was outspoken as Jonah Lawson exited the cabin. Differing sounds of bones cracking and teeth withdrawing and other similar noises were heard outside, and another howl stepped to the moon. Jonah Lawson then immediately helped Josh Segarra devour the grizzly bear, ripping its intestines out and ripping it up, eating the grizzly bear's insides, and devouring the grizzly bear whole. Josh Segarra ripped the flank off the grizzly bear as soon as Jonah Lawson had ripped the grizzly bear in half. Both men devoured the grizzly bear as Andy Harris touched McNemma's hair and started playing with her hair. Andy responded, "It's okay, lady. I'm gonna make it all better." Jessica's breath shuddered, and she breathed, and she found it hard to breathe. As she stared at the ceiling, wondering exactly what happened, a worrying feeling shuddered through her mind. And inside her mind, an unexpected sigh of relief of fear struck through it. And she looked directly at the ceiling, and before she noted, she had faded out and with her head had fell directly right towards Andy Harris. And she fell into a slight different type of mode of sleep. She fell into a slight differentiated coma for some unknown potential reason.